Alright, continue on with the unwrapping. We had just finished kind of repositioning this piece, so I'm going to go ahead, activate our layers, and let's go ahead and hide the high geometry, and let's click out of isolation. Alright, and so we have these pieces unwrapped, and I believe we have that unwrapped, so we don't need to focus on that. Let's go ahead and do this piece real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate that, and then I'm going to reset its X-forms. Another thing we should also check is go into Object Properties, enable By Layer, and turn on Backface Culling. And you want to see, we should be seeing through the object on this side. If you start seeing through on this side, that means you got your normals inverted. We'll go ahead and just check that off because we don't have that problem with this piece. And so a few things we need to do before we unwrap this. Let's turn on our wireframe. Let's go ahead and delete these faces because we're never gonna see them, so we'll delete them. And this one should be fairly straightforward to unwrap. So what we'll end up doing is just go ahead and throw an unwrap modifier on here. And let's just go ahead and select all these faces, mapping, flatten mapping, and then we'll say OK to that. And we'll just go ahead and make this one large piece at first. So we'll grab all that, and we'll just flatten map it. And that looks like it is going to stretch it. Like we don't want it to stretch. So we might be actually able to resolve that by just scaling upwards. Like that. Kind of relaxes it a little bit. Let's go ahead and do a relax until flat. And then another. It doesn't really like that. So what we could do, it's in pretty good shape at that point. Edges aren't too bad, so I think I'll go ahead and see if we can kind of fix it from this point. I'm going to select all these edges up here, and if I hit Y, that's not the one we want. I think it's X. Yeah, I found out the hotkey. So X aligns vertically, and Y aligns horizontally. So X can align that way. And then maybe we'll grab these and hit Y. Go into edge mode actually. Let's take a look at that. It's not too bad. We'll just go ahead and do all these. A little faster than going to the, ooh. Gotta be careful there. Looks like we messed up our edge on the top, so I'm just gonna go ahead and select everything and hit X for that. And we should be good to go. That looks alright. So on the bottom there is a little messed up too. Oops, wrong key. There we go. Alright, so let's go ahead and decide where we want to break this. See if we select to there. Let's go ahead and we'll just pick our spots like that. Let's go ahead and break it at. Grab this piece. Move it up. And then go into edge mode. Out of element mode here. We'll hit Shift S and just mirror that over like that. So we have them in that state. So that's gonna do it for that piece. So we'll go ahead and convert it to an editable poly. Alright, and then we do have this band right here. I'm gonna go ahead and throw an unwrap on this. I don't think we unwrapped this band. Let's go ahead and check element mode. I'm not seeing any unwrap information for that, so I'm going to go ahead, just select those faces. Let's do a flatten mapping on that. Alright, I created those pieces for us. I think we're having the same issue. So I'm going to go ahead, before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and reset X-forms on this. Convert to editable poly. Go and unwrap on it. And let's go back, click element mode, select that, and do a flat mapping. That helped out a little bit, resetting the X-forms. Okay. And let's see here. We got these outer pieces here, so let's go ahead and let's make a break. We'll just say we'll put our seam right here. So I'll break right there and there. And I'll select these in element mode and flatten them. Make sure we just flatten that. Okay. And let's see. So then we've got these pieces here. You know, and come to think of it, we've got these interfaces in here too that we also need to remove. So we'll do that after we unwrap this piece. Just want to make sure what faces we're selecting here. That looks like an interface. So I'm going to pull that off to the side here. That's another interface. We want that face and that face. That's an interface. Same with that one. So that just leaves these pieces here, which should just be the outer pieces. Alright. So let's go ahead and just stitch these up. So Shift S. And then we've got this piece here. And let's see, it's really hard. It's kind of bugged a little bit, like it's showing us the seams inside here for the other pieces. It's kind of hard to identify where that, so I think that seam's right there. We really want it on the bottom here, so I'm going to go out of element mode here, grab this edge, and then we'll weld it right here. So Shift S, and then we'll grab all this, an element, and do a flatten. And let's see. So we got a little bit of stretching. Actually not too bad. And that should be fine. Alright, so that addresses that piece. So I'm going to go ahead and convert this to an editable poly. And with this now at this state, let me just check. Let's see here. If we go in isolation mode, okay, we have access to that. So I think the easiest way to select these faces is go and unwrap. And we thought ahead before and we put all of those interfaces up here, and then we have these ones over here. So we can grab the faces here and here. So that should be all the inner faces. And we'll convert that to an edible poly. And that should apply our faces down here on the stack, which it did. So now we can just simply delete those, and we're good to go. Alright, so that piece is done. We've got this behind here. Alright, let's go ahead and reset its X-forms. Okay. And let's go delete some of these faces we don't need. So these ones in here. And these ones here. It would be nice to kind of remove some of this. This is a lot of tessellation in here, but we needed that for the deforming. And honestly, it would also be better if we would have thought ahead and made this piece so it'd have a segment down the middle. We could have just detached one side and had mirror UVs, but we just chose a number that didn't work well for that. So we'll just have to make room for the other side in the texture map. So I'm going to go to our unwrap, select all these faces. Okay, let's see, let's go to our edit poly stack. Let's make sure, because we were on polygon and we had nothing selected, it basically just passed that up in the modifier list, so we had no UVs for that, for the selection. So let's make sure that you're at the top of your stack for the edit poly, and then turn your unwrap on. And now we should be able to select all these UVs. I want to take a look at this actually. We got a nice seam. We'll just go ahead and flatten map this. You know, and actually we could possibly, I think I might do, instead of a flat map, I might do a cylindrical map. So we'll do a cylindrical map, and let's just see what works best for us here. Nothing really. Okay. Now let's do a flat map. Alright, so we got some pieces that look like this. So, just need to weld some stuff up and straighten this out a little bit. So, it might be easiest just to straighten these out first. So I'll go here, and what did I say? Y? No. It's X. Straighten horizontally, so we can just click the edge loops and straighten this out very quickly. And then do Y for these. Make sure you have the edge loop selected. Lots of edges. And actually, I think I might hold off on that because we're going to need to do that to those two, so it'd make more sense just to do them all at once. Let's go ahead and grab that. Hit Shift S. Let's grab this. Pull it down a little bit. Shift S. Shift S. Okay, now that we have all those selected, sure we're at element mode there. Now I'll go through and straighten these out. So I'm just double clicking on that line to select the edge loops. And Y to align vertically. Okay, now we got to do the horizontal, so that's X. We already had done a few of these, so we just come up here. Alright, then we got this edge over here. So we'll hit Y. Now we got a very clean map there. Let's go ahead and check our texture, how it's applying. Looks pretty good. So now at this point, I decide might just leave it as it is right now, but we might probably, actually we are going to break it probably about like that. Let's see, try to find the middle here. It's about the middle. We'll just break it, stick it right here. And we'll call that piece good. Alright. And we have this unique piece right here, and we had already gone through and unwrapped that, but we still have the interfaces in there. So let's go up here in our unwrap, select these faces up here, convert it to an editable poly, and I'll just go into isolation mode just to make sure that we're only selecting the interfaces there. Alright, looks good. Go ahead and delete those, and that piece is done. So now we have, let's go ahead and do this piece, and because we know that this is the same on this side, we only need to do one side. So I'm going to go ahead and detach this. And let's go ahead and put our material on there. Let's go ahead and isolate this piece. Alright. And then we'll go into our unwrap. Select all these. Actually, one thing I did forget is to reset X forms. So let's go ahead and do that first. Editable poly, unwrap. Select these faces and flatten mapping. Okay. That one didn't really like to play nice for us. So what I might do is select some of these faces. So this is, let's go ahead and just see if we can select them from here, or at least we'll get some of the selection. And I'm going to grab all the way to here. Something like that. Then I'm going to hit the tilde key, which is a quick planar map. Well, it should have been a quick planar map. Let me try that again. Nope. It's because we have this selected. Nah, it's just not working. I guess that map, that key, somehow got. I'm going to turn this back on. Sometimes keyboard shortcut override toggle can cause issues when those aren't working. So I'm going to do a planar map like that. Pull that off to the side. And then grab these pieces here. And do a quick planer on those, and then I'll do a quick peel. And peel on that. Let's see if we do a relax by face angle on this. If we get a little better results. Not really. This piece is really not too important either. So I'm going to select that, straighten. There we go. That sort of did. Do the same for that. And let's do a rescale elements. Sure, we don't have anything selected. A little distortion in there. Let's grab this grouping here. And let's close that. We don't need that. And I'm going to pull it out. Pull it in a little horizontally. These aren't too important that they look right. So if I do another relax, let's see, relax. It's going to do that. Let's try just tweaking these a little bit. Yeah, that's not too bad. Tweak these. These ones don't look too bad. Just trying to make this checkerboard square. A little distortion on the side there. But that'll be fine. Alright, so we'll call that piece good. Convert that to an editable poly. And exit isolation mode. We've got this piece here. And we've same problem, or not problem, but we just need to remove this. So we'll go ahead and detach it. Hit M and pull our mirrored UVs material on there. And we've got some faces we don't need that are on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and remove those. Okay, we'll jump into our unwrap modifier here. And I don't believe I did a reset X form, so I'll go ahead and do that real quick. Okay. Unwrap it. Grab all the faces, mapping, flatten mapping, and we'll say OK. And then I'm going to hit F4 and weld up some of these pieces. Until we have one piece up here. And we got some faces in here. Alright, so we have two pieces there. So I'm going to go ahead and let's actually find, let's do it, let's establish a seam line. A seam line. Down below here somewhere. I'm going to break it right there. Actually, I don't think it really, to be honest, it really doesn't matter. So let's just try to pick this about halfway and break it like that. Pull that up there. And then we have this piece here. Let's go ahead and do a rescale elements. So this is all the right size. I'm going to break this in the middle. And pull that down. There, what do we got here? Oh, we have one other seam. So let's go ahead and connect this guy again. Like that. And then do our our break somewhere kind of an average between that piece. So we're left with something like that. Okay. Throw our checkerboard pattern on here, make sure everything looks pretty good. Looks alright. So I'll go ahead and convert this to an editable poly. And now we've got this end cap piece. So I'll go and unwrap that. And actually before we do that, let's go ahead and isolate it. So we got some inner pieces in here. I'm going to delete this unwrap. And let's go ahead and reset its X forms. Select these polygons, go ahead and delete them. And for this one, I think I might just do a planar map. Just make this one piece. So go ahead and throw our unwrap on here. And let's go ahead and just select that and do a planar mapping in Y. And then just quick peel it. And let's align this better, so we'll make use of the align tool and our tool over here, text tools. And you might notice as I'm going along here, I'm not too concerned about everything fitting in the 0 to 1. We're just trying to get the UVs laid out, and then once we have all the different pieces laid out, we're going to combine them together and then make our final layout for the UVs. We'll just leave this as is for right now. Convert to editable poly. And go out of isolation. And so we've got these pieces here. Let's go ahead and isolate that. Let's go ahead and reset X forms on it. Convert to editable poly. And we have these faces in here we don't need, so I'm going to go ahead and do a ring selection here. That'll delete those ones. And then a ring selection here. And these are triangles. So let's delete that polygon there. And we'll select these vertex and then control left click polygon, and that'll select the surrounding faces that correspond to that vertex, so we can make a quick selection. Then we'll delete that. And that's going to work for us. So now we just need to unwrap this piece, so we'll go to unwrap. Grab all the faces here, mapping, flatten mapping, and we'll say OK to that. We can grab these and do a straighten selection. I'm going to go ahead and just pack these again. And we got some pieces here. Let's go to that edge up there. Grab that, hit Shift S, Shift S. What does this go to? Goes up there. You can go to any one of those pieces right there. And this piece, go ahead and just maximize, it's a little easier to see. I'm going to attach that to that piece. Okay. Alright, and now let's go ahead and go into edge mode here. I'm going to select the edge of this piece. Actually, let's look at this. So that connects onto that piece. Let's go ahead and weld these together. I believe that's the, let's go to the faces here. Let's just check. So top and bottom. That should be fine. So we can do, go to element mode here. Pull these off. And let's go edge mode. Select this top edge. Make sure we're at an element. Click align. And align on this piece. And let's straighten these out. So just go into edge mode, double click this. And I didn't get the hotkey right. Should be X. And then Y for these. Alright, we'll go ahead and just do these ones too. And then let's get this last one out here. And then X for the top of this piece and that piece. Okay, and then see if we can rotate this a little better. Yeah, that's a little better. Oops. Line. I grab these two and straighten them out. Okay, so we're left with that. Let's go ahead and throw our checkerboard on here. That looks pretty good. Alright. And these pieces might be a little long, but we won't worry about that right now. Let's call this piece done. Convert it to an edible poly. And just look this over. I think we've got most of those pieces unwrapped for this section here. So in the next video, or next part, we will group all this together and make it stack it into the 0, 1 space and make that one texture set. So we'll do that next.